Welcome to Wednesday night's Bible study. My name is Philip Brand, and this is Seth Parnell. And so we're in Genesis chapter 18. This is part 24.
Genesis?
I'm sorry. We're in Exodus. This will be an Exodus Bible study. Exodus chapter 18.
I was like, man, we're going to Genesis.
Yeah, Exodus chapter 18. So now I'm in the right passage. That would have been very interesting, wouldn't it? Yeah. As I read through and started in Genesis, and
I heard about Grayson did a whole kids worship lesson in the wrong chapter and had the kids read it, and he was like, "Well, we're here now. We're just gonna go with it."
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
So I guess the best thing to do here is I'm going to give you my notes. You won't read that right there, but you'll start there. And so why don't you start our introduction today from the notes? Yeah.
Okay.
Teach it
right
like
here.
Just teach it like you normally teach.
Divine approval required.
No, I told you not to say that.
You can edit that right. So I'm sorry. Right here.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. All right. Here we go. We are not sure when this occurred, but have a pretty good idea. It happened after the giving.
You can't just read it.
Okay.
You got to teach it. Like, look in the mic and say,
Okay.
We're in Exodus chapter 18.
We are not sure when.
We're in. This is what you said. We're in Exodus chapter 18.
We are in Exodus chapter 18.
So, what do we need to know before we start going through here?
Well, we're not sure when this occurred.
Right, this particular passage?
This particular passage.
So, are you saying that it's not chronological? Mm-hmm. That's what you're saying? So, you're saying that this is not chronological. So, do you remember what happened at the end of 17?
Personally, I don't remember.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Amalekites attacked them because they were against them, right?
Okay, yep.
So then we have this Jethro coming in. Why do we think that it's not chronological here? Like, why doesn't this fit in?
Can I read?
It's right. No, just read it.
Okay. Well, it we have a pretty good idea. It happened after the giving of the law of Mount Sinai.
Yeah. Well, we're not sure.
We're not sure,
but have a pretty good idea that this happened after the giving.
We do.
Do you think there might be some textual clues that would let us in on that in here that would make us think that way? Do you think that?
There probably are.
Probably
some textual clues.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why it is at this point that probably because it's a transitional story.
It is a transitional story.
Yeah.
Do you know? Yeah, so why don't you explain why it's a transitional story? Isn't this interesting at home? Yeah.
This comes right after the Amalekites being enemies.
Yeah. So it's a nice little transitional story here. Yeah.
Yeah. And we now see a group of people that are for the Israelites.
Man, that's a key thing.
Yeah.
Because the Amalekites were against them. The Egyptians were against them. That's a very good insight there, Seth.
Yeah.
And so Jethro comes on the scene, and for the first time, we see that there are actually people in the world that are for the children of Israel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's an important transition type story.
It is.
Yeah. So, you know Jethro's story, right?
He was a priest.
He was a priest, yeah.
And,
priest of what?
He must have been a priest of God, which means that God was active outside of the children of Israel.
Yeah. God. Yeah, that's a great insight too.
Yeah.
So he was active. I think it shows that Abraham didn't have a corner on things of God. Mm-hmm. That God was also working with the Gentiles. Mm-hmm. In verse 1 it says, Jethro the priest of Midian, Moses' father-in-law, heard all that God had done for Moses. So priest of Midian, and that implies a priest of Jehovah.
Yeah.
Or they wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what else do we know about about this?
Well, I mean,
About like Jethro. Like, what do we know? Do you have any introductory stuff about Jethro?
I mean, the fact that he was a priest of the Midianites, and there's nothing is really said about nothing really said about the rest of the Midianites as a whole.
Right.
Who
But
were
this
opposed
clan,
to Israel. Yeah.
was Jethro a pretty big clan, or was it just a couple of people?
He's an exception. That's what the notes
It is
say.
a clan of people. So we're looking at anywhere between 100 and 1,000 people that Jethro is over.
Yeah.
And those Midianites. The other Midianites are, of course, enemies of Israel.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you did a great job. I'll take it.
Oh, okay.
Take it.
Probably for the better.
Yeah. Midianite, as a priest in chapter 18, he's only called the priest of Midian one time. He is called Moses' father-in-law 13 times. So it's this is a chapter of family warmth. It's a chapter of there are people outside of the nation of Israel that support them, that are excited about what God is doing through them, that not the whole world isn't against them. I think sometimes when we go through tough situations, sometimes people say, well, the whole world is against me. Well, this is a passage that says that the whole world is not against the children of Israel. There are people out there for them. All right. Abraham had, what priest was that called that he went to? I remember the name, but I just wondered if you did.
The priest of the Midianites?
No, Abraham. Abraham came back with Lot and all of them, and then this priest came down and he gave a tenth of the spoil to the priest. He's also in Hebrews.
Oh, you're talking about Melchizedek.
Melchizedek, yeah.
Melchizedek, yeah.
Yeah. Melchizedek, pecan, whatever it is. Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah, so that even shows that God was at work outside of Abraham, and God is still at work outside of Abraham. We often hear that the Gentiles were the heathens and no connection with God, and only Israel had it until Jesus came. That is just not the case. There are people that actually believed in Jehovah God, and it was passed down to them that were Gentiles and wasn't, quote unquote, God's chosen people. And I think we need to really understand that. And so Jethro, the priest of Midian, is one of those characters in the Bible that does that. Okay? So, verse 1, Jethro, the priest of Midian, Moses' father-in-law, heard of all that God had done for Moses and for Israel, his people, how the Lord had brought Israel out of Egypt. So he had received word that this had happened. I think he might have received word from his daughter. Or it could have been a messenger. It could have just traveled through. We know that the Amalekites had heard about it and were concerned about this powerful God that brought them up out of the land of Egypt. So they were a little scared of the Israelites, though they were against them. So it's either one of those two ways that he found out. Through the grapevine, or he found out through his daughter, who was married to Moses, that this had happened. And if Moses had sent his wife and 2 boys to them before all the plagues happened, or while the plagues were happening, no matter when he did it, he was probably sending updates to his wife. And so the wife was passing it on to Jethro. That is what I think probably happened and how he heard. But Jethro had not heard the whole story. Okay? So in verse 2, now Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, had taken Zipporah, Moses' wife, after he had sent her home, along with her 2 sons. The name of one was Gershon, for he said, I have been a sojourner in a foreign land. We've already seen that. And then a brand new one that we didn't know about until now. And the name of the other, Eliezer is how you say that. Not Eliezer, that's a different guy.
Yeah.
Eliezer is Aaron's son who takes over for him as the high priest. This is Eliezer. Is what it is. For he said, the God of my father was my help and delivered me from the sword of Pharaoh. So that is when he fled Egypt, and we talked about that in the past, and then of course came back. So verse 5 said, Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, came with his sons and his wife to Moses in the wilderness where he was encamped. So the encampment there means they had been there a long time, seemingly, at the mountain of God, which means that they are at Mount Sinai. Now, one of the reasons that I think this is not chronological and it's later, maybe after Moses came down from the mountain, is first of all this reference to Sinai at the Mount of God. That's what that means. And they've been encamped there for a while. So it's not a long period of time. So as we read through this, we need to understand this is after Exodus 20 and the giving of the law. And for some reason, Moses put it here, and I think it's really transitional. So Moses... Oh, by the way, let me talk about this. So Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, came with his sons and his wife to Moses in the wilderness where he was encamped at the mountain of God. Probably they were stopped at the edge of the encampment. And Jethro said, go get my brother, my son-in-law Moses, to come get me. There were probably guards set around the camp so that they would be aware if they were about to get attacked. It was a protection piece for them. So at one of these quote-unquote sentries, Jethro stopped and told the sentry, I'm here to see my son-in-law. I have his wife and his 2 sons. And so they went to get Moses. This gives Moses time to travel through the camp, instruct the people that work for him to get his tent ready for the arrival of a guest. So he's traveling through, and Jethro knew that would happen. He's given Moses time to get ready for his arrival. Okay? So verse 6, and when he sent word to Moses, I, your father-in-law, Jethro, am coming to you with your wife and her 2 sons with her. So that means a guard. He sent the word through a guard. Moses went out to meet his father-in-law and bowed down and kissed him. And they asked each other of their welfare and went into the tent. That is quite a fast forward, a quick fast forward of events there. First of all, Moses went out to meet his father-in-law and bowed down and kissed him. It is amazing to me how respectful Moses was to his father-in-law. He respected him as a person. He respected him as a man. He respected him as a leader. He respected him as a priest of God. So he bows down to him. And Moses is a pretty powerful dude. And God, you can make a case that God has done mightier things through Moses than Jethro right now. Because Moses is definitely one of the top 3 all-time prophets in the Bible. Jethro has a little part, but nonetheless, he gives him respect, which I think shows his humility. He kisses him. We see a warmth there, a family warmth, a family respect. He's glad to see him. They seem to be friends. They seem to have a good relationship. And this is just really, really a good thing. I didn't put this together until this particular study, that Zipporah comes from the Midianites. Later on, Miriam and Aaron get upset because Moses has married a Cushite. A Cushite is not a Midianite. A Cushite is actually from in the area of Sudan and Ethiopia. So it's basically around Egypt. So it's very possible that Moses had 2 wives, one from Midian and one from the African area. And so they're, I just thought that was interesting. It didn't hit me until this particular passage that she's a Cushite and there's a Midianite. Had you ever thought of that?
No.
No. I always had interpreted that other passage as Zipporah.
Yeah.
But it might not even be Zipporah. It probably isn't, actually, because Zipporah isn't a Cushite.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then Moses told his father-in-law Oh, wait. And they asked each other how their welfare. So when they're asking each other about their welfare, you need to view them as traveling through the Israelite encampment, going to Moses' tent, his home. So they're talking about life. They're talking about what's happened the last couple of years. Jethro is telling Moses. Moses is telling Jethro. And they're just having general conversation as this entourage that Jethro has brought with him moves through the encampment. So do you see what's happening?
Yep.
Yeah. So we see kind of the inner workings of culture in the encampment at this point. Okay. So, and that particular word, and there's a time period there, went into the tent. That tent is Moses' home. Jethro did not set up a tent outside the encampment of the Israelites for them to go into. He didn't do that. He came to the place where Moses lived. Okay. Verse 8, then Moses told his father-in-law all that the Lord had done to Pharaoh and to the Egyptians for Israel's sake, all the hardship that had come upon them in the way, and how the Lord had delivered them. So instead of having little bites of an account that Jethro was very encouraged with, now Jethro has the full picture from start to finish. I went, there was 10 plagues. The 10th plague, he let us go. He explained all the details. There was the Red Sea crossing. He probably even explained the journey along the way with the water and the bread, and how the bread was supplied and the meat was supplied, and all this stuff that God had done for them. He probably even talked to him about going on the mountain and God giving him the law as well. And so, excuse me, now Jethro is looking at all of this as, wow, Moses is connected to God. He's a mediator with God. He has all that set up within his mind. Okay? So what is the reaction? Well, Jethro rejoiced for all the good that the Lord had done to Israel, in that he had delivered them out of the hand of the Egyptians. So Jethro is very, very excited. Jethro instantly understands the magnitude of what has happened. What we have been studying for, 23 other sessions. He understands the magnitude of what God has done in this short amount of time where he delivered his people from slavery. So what are your thoughts on all that so far? Is there anything confusing? Is there anything need to be clarified, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think it's cool that it's almost like this kind of happy report and reunion with a father-in-law, and it's like, hey, look what all God's done. Like, it's been hard, it's been difficult, God's done some crazy things, but come here, let me show you. Let's keep talking. Let's talk about some things. It's a cool picture just to think of him moving through the camp and just like let's catch up. Like, let's catch up on life.
Yeah, it really is a moment where we feel that Moses is a real person.
Yeah.
And it hasn't really been until this point that we have had any type of family warm type interactions where we kind of get a glimpse as to the actual being of Moses rather than just a leader. The man Moses rather than just a leader.
Right.
The relational Moses. Yeah. Everything else seems to be very official.
Yeah.
So what does Jethro do? Well, Jethro said, "Blessed be the Lord who has delivered you out of the hand of the Egyptians and out of the hand of Pharaoh, and has delivered the people from under the hand of the Egyptians. Now I know that the Lord is greater than all gods, because this affair they dealt arrogantly with the people." Every time I get to this, now I know, I often wondered, what do you mean you just know? Like, have you not known? You're a priest of God, so how do you not know that God is above all gods? And I think what is really being said here is I have more evidence to support what I believed in the first place.
Yeah.
And I think as you and I go through life and we see God work for us, we also gain more evidence. Oh, now I really know. I used to know, but now I really know. And it just builds over time. Evidence builds over time. And you might not remember all the evidences, but you're constantly seeing the evidence of God working and that he exists, and it just continues to build your faith.
Yeah.
And you know God more by learning about the great things that he has done. So it's a fresh insight into the work of God. Know is a key word throughout the Exodus narrative. I haven't picked up on that until here recently, but it's constantly know. You will know. They will know that I am God by the plagues. They will know that I am the Lord by giving them water. They will know that I am the Lord by giving them bread. They will know that I am the Lord. So it's a constant, they will know, they will know, they will know. And so the Exodus is about getting to know God through each stage of the journey.
Yeah.
By watching what he does. Yeah. So, what your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I can definitely, I can resonate, because I know there's been times in my life I've grown up as a Christian. I've grown up in the church. I've had a relationship with Christ a very long time, since I was a kid. But there's still been times in my life where I see God's hand and I'm like, yeah, he's real. He's my God. That's who I serve.
Yeah.
And just seems like it's one of those evidential moments that it's like, this is just solidifying that, this is, you may not be able to see him, but this is what God's doing.
And I think this also shows the power of testimony.
Yeah.
And the power of a man, Jethro, not jealous of how God used Moses, but excited about how God used his son-in-law.
Yeah.
Genuinely excited. So he starts to lead this worship area. In verse 12, and Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, brought a burnt offering and sacrifices to God. And Aaron came with all the elders of Israel to eat bread with Moses' father-in-law before God. So now you have Jethro, the priest of Midian, and he's now leading Moses in worship. And now he's leading Aaron in worship. And now he's leading all the elders of Egypt in worship. And they totally follow him and his leadership.
Yeah.
And it kind of shows you the respect and the excitement. So now we have somebody outside excited about what has happened. And now we are joining in a celebration as they celebrate what God has done for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
So pretty neat passage to start off with.
Yeah, it is. I don't think about this often, the fact that Jethro was this priest and he had this relationship with God. You know, I forget about that connection with his father-in-law. Mm-hmm. They're on the same page. Yeah. And that's really cool.
Yeah. And the 13 times really shows that warmth that I talked about at the very beginning, and the family aspect. And yeah, it's just a great passage. I think the mistake people often make with Exodus 18 is they jump to this next section and they start talking about leadership and how to structure leadership in churches and in life, and you know, if you're leading something, and they miss the beauty of 1 through 12. And Moses didn't just write this as filler.
Yeah.
There was a purpose. It's a transition into this and into the next stage, really. He sees it as a transition into the Ten Commandments, even though it happened afterwards. But, yeah. All right. Verse 13. The next day. So they've cleaned up. Dishes are washed.
Went to bed.
Yeah. The next day, Moses sat to judge the people. And the people stood around Moses from morning till evening. When Moses' father-in-law saw all that he was doing for the people, he said, "What is this that you are doing for the people? Why do you sit alone, and all the people stand around you from morning until evening?" There are people standing around Moses that are helping him facilitate all the people coming to him, that are coming to him for help with their issues and their problems. Or they need someone to go to the Lord for them to seek what the Lord's direction is for their life. So there's just a ton of people, and it's what he's seeing is a log jam that is happening with him. And so Jethro sees this as a problem, but he doesn't just see it as a problem. He comes to Moses with the solution for the problem, right? And he explains why it's a problem and why he's concerned about it, all right? So verse 14, when Moses' father-in-law saw all that he was doing for the people, he asked the questions. Verse 15, and Moses said to his father-in-law, because the people come to me to inquire of God. I am their mediator. I'm the one that's between them and God currently. Because if you remember, they haven't really built the tabernacle yet. They're about to. Like if this is after the law at Mount Sinai, it's probably right before they are going to build that tabernacle. Okay. So, or they might be building it right now.
Yeah.
So they're not done. And the reason you know that is because people are coming to Moses rather than Aaron.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So verse 16, when they have a dispute, they come to me and I decide between one person and another, and I make them know the statutes of God and his laws. How can you make them know the statutes of God and his laws if you don't already have them? Mm-hmm. So this makes me think that this is post the giving of the law on Mount Sinai. Do you see where I'm coming from?
I do. Yep.
And at this point, after he's come down with these laws, he's really the only person that understands them. Mm-hmm. and can mediate at this point.
They don't have little pocket
Bibles to come out with, and he hasn't been able maybe to transfer it to other people so that they can do it, right? So verse 17, Moses' father-in-law said to him, what you are doing is not good. You and the people with you will certainly wear yourselves out, for the thing is too heavy for you. You are not able to do it alone. Now let me clarify what he's saying is not good. He is saying what's not good is that you're doing it all yourself. He is not saying that the job shouldn't be yours. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where we mess up in church with pastors, with elders, where we say, well, it's too much. Well, that job isn't yours. That job isn't yours. You shouldn't have to do that. You shouldn't have to do that. No, if I'm a pastor of a church, I'm supposed to run that church. I'm supposed to be part of things. I'm supposed to be involved. So he's not saying that Moses should just say, okay, I'll just get other people to do it and I won't do it anymore. Mm-hmm. I'll do other things. That's not what he's saying. He's saying that you should continue to do this, but you need to restructure so that you don't wear yourself out. And he's going to say that very specifically here in a minute. You and the people with you will certainly what? Wear yourselves out, for the thing is too heavy for you. That particular phrase, wear yourself out, is actually the Hebrew word that means I haven't watered my plant in a long time and it's withering. I know that's a long statement, but that's precisely what that word means. I haven't watered my plant in a long time, it's withering, and there's only a certain amount of time that plant's going to be able to live without that water.
Wow.
That's quite the picture, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's saying you can do this for a small amount of time. Mm-hmm. So you and I know this to be true. There are certain things and seasons where we can do things for a certain amount of time. 2020 was one of those during COVID, and when we still had church and still tried to make things work, we really relied on the staff to keep things rolling. Mm-hmm. Not as a way to do this in the future, but to keep it going right now. And make sure everybody's comfortable before we start inserting people into volunteer positions, right? We are still trying to get people out of the 2020 slump and back into active volunteering at the church. We really are. We're a lot better because we made a concerted effort to get more people involved this year. And we're going to have to keep doing that in 2026. Just because we cannot continue to do all this stuff ourselves. Mm-hmm. There has to be help. And that's what Jethro's saying here. If you continue to do this, you're going to wither out and die. This is another way to say you're going to burn out.
Yep.
Okay, you're going to burn out. So what you're doing is good. It's a good thing. But in order to sustain the good thing that you're called to do, you are going to need some help. So verse 19, now obey my voice. So that obey my voice is not obey my voice because I'm your elder. Because that's how we take it. That is, listen to me, I've got some wisdom for you. And this is a possible solution to your issue. And in fact, that particular phrase means I am making a suggestion. I'm not even sure if this came from God. But this is where you can start to build a system that's sustainable. Yeah. Where you can continue to do this without withering away. Okay. So I will give you advice, and God be with you. You shall represent the people before God and bring their cases to God. So a couple of things. Moses, you need to continue to represent the people before God. Don't give that up.
Yeah.
Okay? That I'm acknowledging that is a good thing. And you shall warn them about the statutes and the laws. Again, that's another reason I think he already has them. So it's you that's supposed to represent them before God. And second, you're supposed to teach them about the statutes and the laws. So you're warning. That particular word warn is actually another word for teach. So you teach them so that they understand it. So that's part of the sustainability, for people to be educated so they can make their own decisions about what's right and wrong and how to mediate between themselves personally. And make them know the way in which they must walk and what they must do. So not only are they going to know how to mediate between themselves when there's a problem, you need to be teaching them how to walk with God so that all of these issues don't happen. Like if people would just walk with God, over half of the issues that they have in this life would be non-existent. A lot of the issues that people deal with, a majority of issues that people deal with, are issues because in that particular moment in their life, they did not walk with God and they did something stupid. And now they're having to pay for it. Mm-hmm. They're having to work something out. But if you teach people to walk with God, it limits the amount of things that have to be mediated for. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So these are three important things that you need to do, Moses. And then the fourth one, moreover, look for able men from all the people. So the fourth thing is you need to look for some people that can handle some of these little issues for you. And here is the qualities of these men, because you're not just going to go out and just get anybody. They need to have these qualities. Men who fear God. I think that's a great requirement.
Number one.
Yeah. We fear God. We understand that he's given us laws and statutes that we need to abide by, and that is what we are going to judge by. And we are going to be very careful in our judgments because we are going to be accountable before God for the judgments that we give. So we fear God. By the way, Proverbs also says that the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom because it puts you in check from running your mouth before you've thought something through and made sure you're right. Who are trustworthy. So that's a good one. They're trustworthy. Everybody knows they're trustworthy. They have the respect of the people and hate a bribe. So they're not going to take money. They're going to be honest and you can't buy them. And he says, place such men over people as chiefs of thousands, of hundreds, of fifties, and tens. And let them judge the people at all times. Let the people come to them first for judgments on matters. Every great matter they shall bring to you. Every matter that they're stuck with, every matter that they can't seem to come up with a solution, those are the ones that they bring to you for your judgment. The rest of them, they decide on. This is not the same system as an appeal system that we have in our country, where you go to a lower court, you don't like that judgment, so you appeal to the next level up, or you appeal to the next level up. That's not what this is saying. This is saying that these men that are over 50s and over thousands, when they get something, like the 50s are like, I don't know what to do, so they go up to the person that's over 1,000. Mm-hmm. And then if it's too big for that, they bring it to Moses. Yeah. Like the stuff that's too big.
They're the one pushing it.
They're the one saying, I really don't know what to do here, so we're going to go see this guy over here and get some counsel on how to decide this. Yeah, because really all decisions made in this era of time were final.
It's not the kid who goes to mom and says, "Can I have the candy?" and she says no, and he goes, "Okay, well, I'll go to dad."
Yeah.
It's not that.
Or the appellate court that says that you can't do something, and then you go up to the city court, and then you go up to the state court, then you go up to, I know it's federal, but you get the point. Yeah, all the way up to the Supreme Court. That's not how this works. Let them judge people every great matter, so they shall bring to you, but any small matter they shall decide themselves. Themselves meaning within that system. Okay? So it will be easier for you, and they will bear the burden with you. That would take a lot of burden off of Moses. If you do this, check this out. God will direct you. The reason that God can direct you when people are shouldering some of the responsibility is because you are now I wasn't going to say this right, but so I just say it the way it came to my mind. You're no longer busy. You can slow down. You're not overly busy, like constantly doing something all the time. You actually can slow down and listen to God. So if you're in a place in life where you're doing so much, you don't have time to listen to God, it's time to come up with a structure to where you have some support so that you have time to listen to God so that your decisions can be directed by God. See, Moses was doing so much of this that it was very difficult for him to actually get direction from the Lord for these issues.
To stop and let God speak and let it saturate his mind and heart.
I know in times when I have the support I need, my creative mind works better. My messages I feel like are better. The way I treat people, like when they come, it is better. Not that I treat people wrong, but it's just better. Like I have a clearer mind, have a clearer perspective. When I'm too busy, I don't have that. Right? And so that's what he's talking about here. It's just better. Easier for you, and they will bear the burden with you. If you do this, God will direct you. You will be able to endure. So this is the way that you survive and not die early. And all this people will go to their place in peace. It brings peace when the leader isn't having to do everything. And there's people that step up to do that. So before we go on, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, out of the whole Jethro story, this is what I'm most familiar with because this is, like you said before, it's what people focus on. But the whole idea of relieving your burdens by trusting these burdens into other faithful men who can be an extension of the ministry is essentially what's being said. Yeah, and the idea of like you're at peace, God can direct you when you're not just trying to fire at all these little things all the time.
Yeah.
You can just step back and go, okay, I trust these people. They're going to take it. If there's something bigger, I'll take it. But I can do what I need to do and listen from God.
Yeah. If the leader is at peace, the people are at peace.
Yeah.
If the leader's at peace, the people have direction because he has direction from God.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a win-win. And I think it's important for people in the church to step up and do things. So that there is that ability to not be so overwhelmed and become a withering plant and burn out.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you go to another church or something, but if you love your staff, if you love your pastor, if you love your pastors, and you want them to stick around, step up and do some stuff. Yeah, and help them out because they need help. Another thing, I think, something that I think we miss too because we're so focused on the leadership side of this passage is also in verse 23. It says, if you do this, God will direct you, go in their peace. Hold on. Maybe I just missed it. Easier for you to burden. If you do this, God will direct you, endure all this people in this place. So Moses listened to the voice of his father-in-law and did all that he said. Moses chose any man. Wait, where is it at? Door goes to their place. Oh, yeah. Obey my voice and I'll give you advice, and God be with you. Okay, so where's it at? I cannot find it.
What was the idea, maybe?
The idea is this. Jethro is sure that his advice will work, but he recommends that Moses take this before the Lord. And I can't find that.
Is it the 19?
Yeah, I looked at that. And may God be with you. It could be that. Anyway, Jethro, I know where it is in this passage, and I'll probably wind up finding it before tomorrow night. In fact, I will before tomorrow night. But I know that earlier today, I tripped over a truth that Jethro is really giving him this suggestion, but telling him to take it before the Lord to make sure that this will work. That he has divine approval. And so divine approval required. I am going to tell you this. Now obey my voice, I will give you advice, and God be with you. I think that is it. And you need to make sure that this is godly advice. Like, you need to do your work too. So it's very important that any advice that we ever get, that we take before the Lord and make sure that he approves of it. Because there's a lot of times that people give us advice that we're like, yeah, that might really work, but it might not be godly advice. Might not be exactly what God wants you to do. So you should always take people's advice, even if they're close, like your father-in-law or your father or whatever, and just make sure that this is what God wants you to do. I do think it's significant that he says God will direct you, you'll be able to endure, and there will be peace. We talked about how that floods over into the people. And so Moses did the plan. And it worked out for him.
Yeah.
And that brings us to verse 19. A couple of reasons that might have been forward. I do think it's a transitional piece. But second, once we start this section of the text, it would be very awkward to have this story anywhere between now and the giving of the law in that area. And the flow wouldn't have been good. So I think that's why he moved it there. All right, so any final comments?
Yeah, I mean, going back to that idea of like him giving this advice, but he was humble enough to be like, but make sure, like, I'm going to give this to you, but you're the one, and this is your gig. Make sure this is what God wants you to do. Yeah. I thought that was cool. Well, I am pretty sure that that's where it is, because when you read God be with you, that just sounds like oh, God be with you. Well, why did he say that? Well, if you look a little deeper, what he's saying is make sure God is with you. Yeah. Yeah, that's how that should be translated. Yeah. I'm going to give you this advice, but make sure God is with you. So, yeah. Well, that's it. So, in the end, whatever you do, remember, divine approval required. Something that he gave away at the very beginning, that we're going to call this lesson anyway, that you saw on your YouTube screen, or so you already know it. So that's exactly what I would have said. That's exactly what you said at the very beginning. You made it happen. All right. Grace and peace until next time.